As a child growing up in Kansas City, uh, 8 years old, um, restricted by limitations because of the pigmentation in our skin, we couldn't go past 27th Street without a work permit. And recognizing we lived on one side of the tracks and Caucasian people lived on the other side of the tracks. And I couldn't visualize why I couldn't
DigiFest is going to be at BizCon
travel.
September 12th,
I couldn't
2025.
understand as a child. I didn't understand why we couldn't. But then it was all because we were black people and we were forbidden to go. And when I go outside, I would see these little BBs flying across the sky. They were airplanes. And I used to always ask the Lord, when will I be able to go away from this God-forsaken place? Because I wanted to go further than the limitations that we have been shackled with. And lo and behold, when I was about 18 or 19, a recruiter came and um, recruited and said, "Oh, if you come in and volunteer, you would avoid the draft and avoid going to Vietnam." So I figured that was a time for me to enlist. It would help me broaden my horizon. And be that as it may, Vietnam wasn't on the list, but it was my first real realization in seeing how the government operates under lies and agents who uh, would uh, get other veterans, people to come in and volunteer, and then would lie to them because GI stands for government issue, and wherever they issue, you have to go. So that's how I ended up going to Vietnam. Uh, but a realization set in my mind that when I got back, and I had strong convictions that I was going to make it back because I know the God that I serve is omnipresent. He's everywhere. And I just had this belief that I was going to make it back. And I did. And I had this vision of wanting to be a flight attendant. Uh, I just loved walking around heaven all day. I just knew that. So when I came back in 1971, I actually went and applied to Continental. And my mind was so fragmented, and you have to make 90% on every test in order, and you have to be recertified year after year. Be that as it may, I didn't pass the test or one of the tests. Uh, but 32 years later, God blessed me to fulfill my dream of becoming a flight attendant. I actually was working in uh, reservations for the airlines, and lo and behold, when 9/11 happened, I wanted to become an air marshal because I saw the devastation that had been impacted upon America that I was exposed to on a regular day in, when I was in the war in Vietnam. So I wanted to be an air marshal. They told me I was too old. At that time, I was just 37 years old. No,
Oh, wow.
no, I think I was a little older than that. I may have been 40, in my 40. Um, yeah, I was in my 40s or 50s. I was in my 40s. I think I was in my 40s. And they told me I was too old to be an air marshal. So then I realized it was time for me to chase my dream of being a flight attendant, and I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to do my Nashville debut. And I felt like you were the appropriate crowd to try it out on. La 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 la, 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 la. My southwestern boy, we welcome you for today. Glad to serve you. Shortly we'll be on our way. Southwest Airlines, the love jet that flies you throughout the skies. You're the only one my heart beats for. I'm so glad that you are mine. La 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 la. I was nervous. Thank you very much.
With AirTran, small company, and lo and behold, they were bought out by Southwest, which was the greatest thing that could have ever really happened to me. Uh, and I had a 20-year career. Uh, came abruptly to an end. Um, I I enjoyed it. Ain't nothing like walking around heaven all day, having the world in the palm of your hand, and you're able to travel, going many places. To be able to try to South Africa, fly to South Africa for $248 round trip. It was great. You could fly on other airlines. So it's I've had an illustrious life with a lot of heartaches and pains, but there's always a sunshine that shines through, even in the midst of your pain and your sorrow and whatever you go through. It's not what we go through; it's how we endure,
Yes.
and that is um our biggest fight. Is to fight for that in which has been denied us. We're the most oppressed people, but yet the most resilient. We have overcome heinous crimes. Most of the crimes have been domestic terrorist type of actions that we see have happened to our people. And it only happens to predominantly us as a people,
Hmm.
because of the pigmentation of our skin is problematic for the Caucasian persuasion. Those, at least those who have that contaminated heart of sustaining and the um, sins of the forefathers. And it's something that we literally have to continue the fight for our ancestors, such as Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King. Um, um, the list goes on and on and on. But we literally have to pick up the mantle and continually do battle against the enemy that always continually wants to sustain this system of oppression. And we will overcome, but the only way we will do that is to be able to uh, continue the fight. And we're so distracted, whether it's by TV, whether it's by entertainment, you get over inundated with so much
Hmm.
stuff that takes us away from that in which means the most to us. And it's it's imperative that we collaborate with people and cultures who don't look like us, but are yet being oppressed by the same oppressor. And that is something that we must do to better um, um, get us in a better position. Uh, it's kind of like a pole position, you know. We are starting, they want to tell you that things are equal, we have better this, better that, but you've continued to move the goalposts. Every time we get closer to, you continue to move the goalposts further away from us. And I don't know, it's how do we really overcome the madness? We're mad at the madness, and it's never ending. So, and they'd rather see you dead in your grave than to see you as neighbors. Um, I'm reminded of a day when I took my 8-year-old grandson to get some ice cream one day up here, and he started to play in this tree, which is right by the parlor, and it took me back to a moment in time when I was his age at 8 years old. I really didn't like going outside.
Why is that?
Well, the realization as I watched him playing in that tree, I was taken back to a very depressive moment in time. Well, I didn't like going outside because realizing that so many people who looked like me were found hanging from the tree. And it was very toxic for my soul.
Mm.
And he lives in a different dispensation in time. He lives in Arizona, in Phoenix. All of his neighbors are of Caucasian persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter actually doesn't like for me to talk with him. He's going to grow up to be a black man in this society. And all of his neighbors, he's the Jackie Robinson in his neighborhood. I shared with him that when I was his age, it was forbidding, nor did I live around people who didn't look like me until I was, my first interaction with people who, from across the tracks was when I was a sophomore in high school, when we got bused out of the black neighborhood into integration.
So as a teenager,
That was the first time I got introduced into, other than the Jewish man who had the grocery store in our neighborhood. That's the only time I would see somebody who didn't look like. And he was trying to hit on my mama, you know. So other than that, I didn't. This time, and I shared with my little grandson when I was his age. So anyway, he must have took it back to his mother or whatever, and she like hit the ceiling. She didn't like the fact that I exposed him to something. Well, he's going to get exposed to a lot more.
Yeah.
In this lifetime. He's going to find that some of those, he's going to come face to face with reality that's going to hit him. And I can't blame her for not letting him watch the news and that type of, because it is demoralizing, and especially kids when they see that things, they want to rid themselves of education and, you know, the DEI and all that. You know, it's so overwhelming. So
what type of lesson uh do you think that our kids are learning, whether it's in the school or in the home or lessons around them that's different from other children?
Well, uh, I don't know. I think things are taught in the home, and I think um, we mimic that in which we see. And I can't really say for certainty what's taught in the home of those who are not like us. Um, I just know that in each culture, everybody is, even though there's a difference in our cultures, we are a lot of things we eat,
Mm-hmm.
we do things that are literally the same, but we do them in our own language. And if you're teaching uh, white supremacy stuff, that we are better than someone else, then at some point in time, anybody's going to resist that because we are very uh, talented people, and um, we have the resilience to overcome because we're always fighting for something. As
Yes.
blacks, we're always fighting for something. We have to fight for rights that are inherently just handed over to um, those who are uh, have no pigmentation in their skin.
Yeah. I believe when it comes to our children and other children, and then when it comes to culture, part of culture, a big part of that is self esteem.
Oh yes,
You learn a lot. The more you learn about your culture, you learn about you learn about your people, and it builds self esteem. When it comes to our culture, it's it gets muffled. The less that we know, and the less that our parents know,
keep you ignorant. They want to.
yeah,
They
the
want to keep you
less
void of
culture,
learning
yeah,
about
our
yourself.
children get.
Right.
And they may learn one lesson in the home, but
The streets teach them
yeah,
other
that's
things,
another lesson when they leave home.
and they got to leave home.
Yeah, they
You
got
can't
to
keep
leave
them.
home.
You can't keep them sheltered. And I
They
think
got to.
to a fault, I think uh, that that can hinder us. And I get it. Our parents want to protect us and preserve us because they recognize and know what a lot of the dangers that are out there in the streets that await you. And it's so easy to lose your life here in America. Um, it's you have sometimes it's just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and um, you don't. We get gunned down. We get shot down by the people who are there to protect and to serve you, but they really don't uh, preserve you. They try to make you extinct and literally become a statistic. Uh, they'd rather see you dead in your grave than to see you alive. Um, and if they're going to shoot you, uh, trust me, it won't be just by one bullet. They want to pour bullets into you to make sure that you're dead, that you can't, because their theory is that uh, if they just wound you, you'll be able to collect checks and checks uh, for the rest of your life or whatever. But I don't know, how do we we have to put demands upon the system. The impact has to be felt. We march for a couple of days and it's over. We don't generate those strong enough winds to move the needle. Um, and they just, um, whatever, for whatever reason, they just as soon just um, give us a pacifier, whatever, placate to our feelings, emotions for a few minutes, and then it's back to business as usual. Well, we thought when they beat Rodney King and we saw on video, we thought that that would be a change in time. We thought by putting badges on the policemen that that would stop a lot of the crime. None of it has stopped. And matter of fact, if anything, it's gotten worse. And especially when you got a orange outlaw in the White House that pardons uh, policemen who have been convicted of crimes of killing, and then turn around, pardon them, and give them their jobs back. So it's the truth. America is not about the truth. They're about continually sustaining their lies and carrying on a corrupt system. If they were sincere about um, caring for the lives of all citizens, um, they would not be killing them. They would treat them as if they were a cougar or a lion or a bear. They would tranquilize. If somebody was committing a crime, what's wrong with tranquilizing them and putting them to sleep like you do if you saw a cougar or a lion or a bear in the neighborhood? They don't kill them. They don't kill. Did you know that? They don't kill animals. They don't kill them. They tranquilize them. They could do the same thing. Why are you taking lives? You don't have the power to do that. And if you're going to do that among the black people, you should do it among the white folks. You should do it among anybody else. But I see, man, this level of stuff, it has vexed my soul all of my life. I tell you, I have felt like I was in a war way before I ever went to Vietnam. And that's just about surviving in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's like winning a lotto. For you to stay alive in America is like winning a lotto because there's so many people who look like us that do not. And the repercussions and the ramifications is there's a minimal uproar. There's an uproar. Um, I don't know. Where do we
Yeah.
go from here?
Well, when Miss Ray, when I met you up at the Capitol here in California, um, we did an interview, and there was a joy that was on your face, and a joy that when speaking about that movement that particular day. I'm curious on how did you, what was your way of passage into that day? Because that's, from, what was that? You said 27th Street or
Yeah,
22nd?
I lived on 23rd and I couldn't go past 27th Street.
So not being able to go past the 27th Street to being passed from there to Vietnam to Southwest to here at the Capitol.
Well, I think over the course of time, given laws were relaxed because there was, and has always been a sustained march to yet achieve and accomplish those things that had been forbidden, that had been denied, have been deprived of. So you just have to keep moving forward to conquer that in which you have been denied. And there is no quit. You have to on all levels, but the force would be more impactful and more happen more quickly than there is nothing that says anything should last 400 years and counting. It's longer than that. The system in itself is an anchor cast about our necks. The proverbial knee on the necks of Black people has been forever. And until we as a people recognize and come together and galvanize, mobilize, and recognize that we are our brother's keeper, rather than fighting against one another. It literally has got to change, but it's not going to change until we rearrange the game. We have to be a part of a revolutionary movement in time, in this lifetime. Our grandkids, my great grandkids, should not have to be going through stuff that our ancestors would. No way. No way. But it's this sustainable system of garbage that has been in the swamp, that has been in the United Snakes of America, because truthfully, if the truth be told, and it must be told, America has actually been public enemy number one to the melanated citizens of America. That's one man's opinion. It's mine. And I know for a fact what I have had to endure just to stay alive in this man's fake, fraudulent, anything that is about corruption. As long as, if Black people commits a crime, white man commits a crime, they never get the same kind of time. There are a lot of Black people who serve time and never even committed the crimes they've been accused of, have spent 30, 40, 50 years locked up for crimes they didn't even commit.
Yes.
Because we look alike. At least that's the image and projection that has been expounded upon our people. But you let them go shoot up churches, movie theaters, killing up a bunch of people. And it's more important to you that you give him rights that you don't provide for the victims. It's madness, man.
Yeah.
This is not a United States of America. When I see the word united, I think of something that is together, united. The only united I see from the powers that be is their unity in their mass level of bigotry, hatred, racism. The madness never ends. Every race that is run in life has a finish line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get there in time. but yet it has been sustained. It doesn't matter what year, it doesn't matter what date. You go in time in history, you actually see that same level of contradiction of what is a United States. There ain't no unity in nothing in this country other than their unification of keeping that proverbial knee on the necks of our people. And that's something that has to cease and desist. But no man is an island, no man stands alone. There has to be a collective fight for the right of that is which rights. So many people just give up, man. They don't have the heart. They're content. Yes. You want me to tell you what the difference is from where I came and grew as a child when I was only able to go 4 blocks? They have expanded the yard of life that we can play in to a degree. There are some areas you better not go in, better not be seen. You call them the sundown towns.
Mm-hmm.
There are some areas you really don't have to go in. But I know that they have expanded the levels. They've given, we got people in Congress, we got people here. We've had a black president. Yes, we've had these token stuff. Everything in every area of the game, whether it's in the record industry, whether it's in sports, whether it's in politics, politricks as I call it, because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it a formal name of politics, but it's politricks because you are playing in a game that has been rigged and stacked against us.
Yes.
Um,
How do you feel about reparations?
we can't move forward until there's an acknowledgement. After the acknowledgement, there has to be a level of restitution, reparations. You can call it foreign aid because that's what you give the foreigners who come here. You give them foreign aid.
Yeah.
But yet you treated us like foreigners in our own homeland, and you want to find and deny why you want to pay for the sins of you who have sustained the sins of your forefathers. And because you weren't around at that time, you feel like you didn't do it, but yet you profit and benefit from it today, whether it's in land seized, whether it's in jobs that have been given to you with your nepotism. It's so many ways that we have been denied, but they don't want to pay for the sins. They want to get off scot-free. They don't feel like they owe or should have to pay. But yet, you come up with money, whether it's the 360 something billion that you find readily to help Ukraine, these foreign aids. Do you realize how much money America sends out of this country every year to a lot of these foreign countries, man? It's asinine.
Yeah.
But yet you got no money to pay for the crimes. America's way of satisfying those things, people who have been wrong, has always been about paying a form of restitution for the accidents or the crimes that have been committed, right? In every type of, whether you have an accident out here in the street, you go see an attorney. Whether you have any type of crime, whether it's a policeman who shoots somebody and who's unarmed, they have a fund to recompense those people who have been legally found to be wrong. We have to declare and find America guilty of sustainable crimes
Yeah.
against these system. And until we hit them hard enough where it really, with facts, irrefutable, there has been a tsunami of injustices perpetuated against us for centuries. And everybody's gotten off scot-free.
Yes.
Nobody answers. There has to be. And the only reason is because we don't. O ye of little faith. If we only have faith of that grain of mustard seed, man, the manifestation, I don't care whether if I pour water in a glass and it's half full, is it half empty or is it half full?
Mm.
I'm always eternally optimistic, no matter what the odds are against me. If they're 99-1 against me, I'm going to roll with the one that I've got because that's all I can do. I know what's in my hand. I trust I'm going to overcome. And I know the God in which we serve because I'm a living testament to have. Man, I had spinal meningitis when I was 18 years old. The doctor, I was quarantined for 48 days. The doctor said if he lives, he'll be a vegetable. I was the first patient that he had ever treated that had survived spinal meningitis. I have been shot. I've survived war. Stage 4 colon cancer. I've had a heart attack on a plane in 2010. When I tell you stuff, my mother always told me, and it always resonated in my spirit, in my soul. She said, if you lie, you will cheat. If you cheat, you will steal. She said they all work in conjunction one with another. And the reason why she shared that with me is because I broke in a piggy bank one time. I wanted to play on the baseball team. My mother couldn't afford for me to get a uniform. When lunch was 25 cents, my mother couldn't afford for my sister and I to have lunch money every day, man. Do you realize when I said a quarter?
Yeah.
We had to carry beans in a jar to school for lunch, syrup sandwich, grilled cheese sandwich, commodity. There wasn't no welfare. It was commodity stuff. Sometimes I was so embarrassed, I would hide my beans in a jar on the way to school, and I'd get it on the way back home.
Or would you hide them in a bush or something? Yeah.
Yeah. So life presents us where it is. I'm grateful. I've been blessed, man, beyond measure. God has been good to me. I've got my rib, my beautiful wife, whom I adore. I love her so much. She's been a stabilizing force in my life that has tremendously helped with galvanizing my family. But for the grace of God, Craig, I yet will fight with every breath that's in my body to fight against the system. I'm not scared because I've been there before, not just in my mind, I've lived it. I got scars cut all the way up here. I just had robotic heart bypass a year ago. I've been on the brink of death several times, man. It doesn't. I'm not frightened. I have not one iota. One thing my mother used to always pray for a lot: longevity, health, and I always pray for those two things. Lord, bless me with a reasonable portion of my health and strength and longevity on this earth. Why? I didn't know why I wanted longevity. I just know I wanted to live here as long as I could, because we'll live on the other side a whole lot longer than we existed on earth. So I want to live here. Whatever the challenge that lies before me each day I wake up, I relish and thank God for, even when the times when I was in war, even the time when I was a kid and I didn't know where life was going to take me. But I'm thankful and grateful to God for how He has manifested His glory within me, and to God be the glory. It ain't nothing about me. We are here as vessels and instruments to be used of God to generate and do exactly what we are about. I thank God for you, young king. You don't see too many young men like you. We don't see too many men who want to pick up a fight and understand your purpose. You have a purpose because God planted that seed within you. And you recognize there's an uphill challenge that you got before you. And you want to be able to navigate that level of terrain and helping you be able to achieve and accomplish that. There are more things that bind us together than the few things that keep us apart. I just feel honored that you thought enough of to want to talk with me, man. I am not afraid. Everything I've said, I'll speak the truth and I'll rest with that. And where do we go from here? We continue to fight. We extend olive branches to those who we have an alt against. Man, I hate no one. I don't hate them who hate and despise me, who want to kill my people, who want the worst for us, who masquerade as if they care about us. But they don't. They are not like us. And that's one reason why God made us all different. We are God's chosen people. We are the chosen one. We literally have to rise above the madness. We can be as parakeets and just talk like birds chirping, or we can be as eagles and soar higher. Pigeons and birds can't stand too high of altitude. Even us as humans, when we air, we have to have that certified air in the air we breathe because of the altitude. We have to be able to soar high.